This is on the closing of Smart Studios. I felt happy, sad, and terrified at the same time. Happy because I stepped up a rung. The big guy was gone. Sad because Smart Studio was to be no more. I had only worked there one day, and it was kind of a magical day for me. But and then terrified that, Rock Garden could be next. So it actually really kicked me in the ass to diversify and keep things going, because I felt the wolf at the door at that point. Because the big guys had gone down already. This was kind of after the fact. And so even the closing of Smart inspired what is today, for those reasons.
On the closing, I just want to say that we did have some discussions on how to treat the closing in the film, and none of us wanted to have any kind of lament about the closing.
No,
and
we didn't want it to be a bummer. Yeah.
And you have to how to end a film like Smart. I think that was a challenge for a while, and just knowing that Butch and Steve, I think none of us, but them primarily, did not want to sort of dive into the dark zone. It was an experience that had run its course and was a lesson in sort of the impermanence and what happens with art. You do it, you create, you let it go, and you move on. And Jimmy Chamberlain was actually very reaffirming in his interview, because he was like, fucking move on. And when you get that, I think it's inspiring, because it forces you to leap into the darkness in a way, and just kind of embrace that you did it as best as you could, and it's over, and just trust it.
Jimmy's quote at the end was kind of the end of the film, because it's like we burned hard for 30 years and we were in the present, and then it's gone. And then you just have to go, cool, and that's kind of how we felt. And he was very succinct in saying that at the end of the film.
Yeah.
And then amazing new places like this come along. And thank you for
exactly.
having us, because this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Two questions. First of all, Wendy, you probably learned a lot doing this, with all that knowledge that you've picked up along the way. Mm-hmm. I know at this point it might be too early, but do you see yourself maybe doing another film in the future, as far as expanding your knowledge of the local scenes? As I would consider you to be an expert at this point.
We have plans for Wendy.
Yeah.
Second question.
Not so much about Smart, because someone asked her last night in Chicago, do you want to do a sequel? She's like, sequel? Fuck, a sequel? I can't do a sequel. I'm still trying to get this film done. But there are some other film things that are very Wisconsin-centric that we're talking about right now, that we're putting into production. Hopefully that will start to get rolling next year.
And I want to add that, we talk a lot about the amount of footage that I've shot and the amount that you haven't been able to engage in with us. So what are ways to connect that? What are the addendums to Smart? Because I feel like this film just peels back the first layer of a really rich history in independent music. And when I spoke with Dave and Kurt and Frank about maybe using the film as a launching pad for Mile of Music, the energy that is in this film, in these 90 minutes, is the energy of Mile of Music. It is the energy of just pure, accessible music, and how that music affects and connects with a community is essential. Even events like this, where people are just sort of commingling for the sake of music and the history of music, and that we all kind of value that there's an importance in that. So there's a lot of rich content that will be connected with the film as things roll out. Not immediately, because I think the idea is to sort of get the potent story out there, but there's a lot that we have to offer that can be attached to it.
So how did you decide to, I'm assuming there's a lot of other things, quirky things that could have been added, but would be additional content on the DVDs?
Wasn't I just talking about
that? Well, I'm thinking of like the flood and the backhoe through the front, like little things like that. I don't know if that was ever...
We were just talking about that while you were watching here in the back, that there's so many bands that are not in the film that should be in the film. And there's also a lot of X-rated stories that are not in the film that should be in the film.
The adult
Now,
version.
last night we went on a tangent at the screening in Chicago about this band Paw. They
Oh,
were an incredible band. They were signed to it was a pretty big budget. I think A&M. They had like a month long in the studio,
Yeah.
and they were really intense, crazy. Mark, the singer, had a unique ability to fart on command. And one night, Mr. Colson, Doug Olson, the engineer, recorded about 30 minutes of him in his full flamboyance. And as Wendy pointed out, the great thing was he had the ability to take the air in. So as we had a mic fairly close to his bum, and it was very compressed. But it was the anticipation that going in, it would last sometimes 30 seconds. That you would just like, oh my God, you would die in anticipation. And that became a very popular thing. We played at Smart all the time. Any band that came out, you have to hear Mark's fart tapes, and we was playing. So a band would be inside up, put the fart tapes on and play them, and it was quite intense. But there's a lot of sort of what we call X-rated stories. They're not really X-rated, but stuff that just got left off because it wasn't really pertinent to the story.
Yeah.
That should be on the addendum of maybe when the film comes out, there'll be something on the website or something. We'll figure out some way.
Yeah.
There's so many friggin' crazy stories that didn't make the cutting, the final edit,
Yeah.
but we'll get them out eventually.